We are nearly 12 hours after the historic presidential debate right here in Atlanta. So both candidates quickly leaving the CNN studios, going on to the next location on the campaign trail because the trail is hot. Former President Donald Trump headed to Virginia for a campaign rally there that's happening in the Hampton Roads area. And President Joe Biden, he left the state of Georgia and headed to a Raleigh, North Carolina rally there where he's going to hold that campaign event a little bit later today. But before taking off at Dobbins Air Reserve, he and the First Lady, they made a little stop at the Waffle House on Cobb Parkway right out there near Truist Park. A reporter asked the president about his performance and his health.
Mr. President, how did you perform tonight?
I think we did well.
Are you suffering from a cold? Your campaign says that you're sick.
A lot of people noticed the raspy voice last night for President Biden, and right now sources do tell NBC News that the president was suffering from a cold during that debate. The two candidates squared off in a memorable debate. Quotable moments galore here already circulating here. A debate filled with policy, of course, that's so important, but a lot of personal attacks.
He was the worst in all of American history.
If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance.
President Biden and former President Trump squaring off on a top issue for voters, the economy.
By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos.
He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country.
Also sparring over reproductive rights.
What I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states.
If I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
Each taking their stance on foreign policy.
Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine.
And then the personal attacks.
How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
So experts and key political figures both applauding and highly critical of those performances from both sides. But now the pressure is on to prove and push the message from each party that their candidate was the winner. 11 Alive's Ariana Maniz with our political team joining me now to talk more about that reaction to those performances. Ariana.
Aisha, it was a game-changing night for President Biden and former President Donald Trump's campaign. The morning after the debate, both sides are working overtime. President Trump's campaign, they are declaring him victorious. Meanwhile, President Biden's team, they are really dispelling claims of the president's shaky performance. It's one of the biggest moments of the presidential race so far. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump taking center stage for the first debate.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
What are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Supporters on both sides of the aisle are claiming their candidate did the better job swaying voters.
He hands down won this debate. And the reason why is not only did Trump win it, but Biden lost it. Both those happened at the same time. President
Biden's performance during the 90-minute debate is sparking more concerns about his fitness for office.
Many times he had even a spark of life to him was when he's talking about January 6th, was when he's talking about Trump's convictions.
Supporters of the former president say the difference in energy between the candidates was striking.
No matter what Joe Biden's campaign says, you saw a man who cannot execute on anything. He cannot execute on presidential vision. He could barely execute pre-planned, pre-canned lines in the debate.
But critics are saying Trump's confidence cannot overshadow the truth.
It was someone who sat up there and was acting as if he was some used car salesman that wanted to just tell us whatever and pretend as if it was fact.
And with the first debate now in the history books, Democrats and Republicans are hoping their candidate's message resonates with voters with less than 5 months out from Election Day.
Fashion. I care about substance. I care about policy. I care about facts. I care about people being accountable to their lies. What I saw tonight was Donald Trump weakness.
Someone on stage tonight displaying a focus and a seriousness that ought to really reassure those voters, reassure them that he's going to fight for them. President Trump's policies improved quality of life for people.
Now, what happened last night, the matchup between Biden and Trump, will be on the minds of voters until their next matchup. They have both decided to debate once again 2 months out, September 10th. To get reaction on how voters are responding to last night's debate, we're going to send things over to our Bobeth Yates. Bobeth?
Thank you, Ariana. So watch parties started popping up all across Metro Atlanta last night, and one of them happening here at the iconic Manuel's Tavern in Midtown. And we were here getting real live reaction. Take a listen.
I don't know if any undecided voters are being persuaded by what they're doing up there.
All across Metro Atlanta, debate watch parties were packed, and residents reacted in real time to comments being made by both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump.
I think it's just a reality star versus an actual politician and what he wants.
But the concerns went beyond both candidates' demeanor. Some attendees specifically pointed out neither Biden nor Trump provided satisfactory answers to questions on critical issues like reproductive rights and the housing crisis.
The housing crisis is very real. I would like to buy a house someday, and I think it just keeps getting harder and harder. I haven't heard one of them say a plan that would actually make it easier, so that's a little disappointing.
Really reproductive health care, protecting that for women. I mean, if we really want that Roe versus Wade was overturned, is terrible. But some of the initiatives that the Republicans have said, which would be eliminating access to contraception, that would be terrible for young women and for women in general.
Healthcare inequity was also top of mind.
The mortality rate of black women, about how black women don't get a lot of health care and how we sometimes need to have advocacy. I don't think either of them answered the question well, but I was more pleased by, obviously, Joe Biden's answer.
And in the end, watch party attendees we spoke to say neither candidates did much to move the needle for them.
I don't think debates really convince people. I think they're just kind of events for folks like us to come root for our side.
Now, this is the first of 2 debates both candidates have agreed to. The second one will happen on September the 10th, and of course, we'll bring you those updates when that happens. Live in Midtown, Beth Yates, 11 Alive News.
For a closer look at the key takeaways from the debate, just text the word debate to 404-885-7600, and we will send that right back to your phone.